that will be presented in this discussion are the following. Number 1, introduction to research, importance of research, characteristics of a good research, objective of research, research method and design, research format, and formulating a research title. This particular discussion will be utilizing the mediums Tagalog in English in order to facilitate a more efficient way of distributing and sharing the knowledge that will be presented in this particular video. So let's start with the word research. Ano ba ang research? So ang salitang research ay a conjugation, yung pinagsamang salita ng re at ng search. So, ang tinatawag nating re ay yung prefix at ang search ay yung main word natin. So, simulan natin doon sa search. So, ang search is defined as to look for something, specifically answers, truth, or new knowledge. Bagong kaalaman, katotohanan, at kasagutan. Yun po ang hinahanap kapag ang pinag-uusapan natin ay research. Ano naman ang ginagawa ng re? Ang re is defined as repeat, inuulit. Hindi literal na inuulit yung buong proseso. Inuulit ito sa paraan ng mga sumusunod. To verify. Kapag meron kang nalaman na discover, may narinig ka na bagong kaalaman, kailangan mong siguraduhin na yung narinig mo ay totoo. So you are going to go to another source in order to verify the information. This is done in order to combat fake news and to ensure, para masiguro, na ang sagot na nakarating sa inyo, nalaman ninyo, narinig ninyo, na-discover ninyo sa inyong research ay totoo. So that is verify. This is under doon sa proseso ng tinatawag nating repeat. Okay? Yung susunod is to validate. Once the source has already confirmed or what we call validated the information, and we do this not just by looking at another source. So, meron kayo narinig na isa, nagsabi sa inyo, ganito, i-confirm nyo sa isa, and then okay na yung validated. It is better if you go to another source. So, this is also being implemented in the research writing process, which is yung citation of sources, to confirm that whatever you are discussing is verified and validated. So kung makikita ninyo, kapag nagsusulat na kayo, meron kayong mga tinatawag nating citations ng mga sources, specifically literatures and studies. Okay? So, bakit kailangang verified ang information na makikita o malalaman, madidiscover sa inyong research paper? Because the answers, truth, or new knowledge that will come out from your research will be used for decision making. Ang mga makikita nyong bagong kaalaman, katotohanan, at sagot ay gagamitin for decision making, and it is crucial. Napakahalaga na itong mga ito ay verified. Dahil kapag ito ay ginamit na sa paggawa ng desisyon at hindi siya verified, magkakaroon ng napakalaking epekto doon sa desisyon ng decision maker, ng tao na gumagawa ng desisyon, yung information na ibinigay nyo sa kanila. Kaya kailangan lahat ng lumalabas sa research ninyo is verified and validated. Okay, so that is the concept, the outline, the overview of what we call research. If research ends with an answer, then research should start with what we call a problem. Again, take note. A research starts with a problem and ends with a solution or an answer. Okay, I presented this because there are misconceptions regarding the research writing process wherein instructors require students to submit research titles and therefore inculcate in the minds of the students na ang research ay nagsisimula sa title, which is not the case. Okay, if you are going to start with a title without any fundamental equipping of knowledge and skill to the students on how they are going to formulate the title, the reason why they are formulating the title, the characteristics, the variables that they should be aware of when formulating the title. They will be half-baked. They will be able to produce a research title but they will not be aware of the variables. Subukan yung ipahanap sa kanila yung mga variables ng title nila. Hindi nila ma-identify yan if you are going to start with a research title. So, it should start with a problem. And these problems are usually in the form of issues that are relevant to the field of specialization of students. In this case, HUMSS. Okay? Humanities and Social Sciences. So, yun ang focus ng ating discussion ngayon. I am also going to give sample research titles towards the end of this discussion. So, make sure that you take note of the following para alam ninyo, and eventually, if you are already equipped at alam na ninyo kung paano gumawa ng research title, we are going to break the vicious cycle of recycling titles and just picking up titles from the internet. Okay? So it will be more personalized, customized according to the needs and preferences of the research writer, which is supposed to be the case. Kapag tayo ay gumagawa ng research title, dapat yung gusto ninyong title. Dapat yung familiar kayo doon sa title ninyo. If you are familiar and interested in the title that you are proposing, there is already a chance that you already have an idea or a background information of the issue that you want to investigate. We are going to go to that specifically later on in our discussion. Okay, bakit tayo nagre-research? Ano ba ang kahalagahan ng research? Meron kayo maririnig, bakit ba kayo research ng research? Ano ba meron sa research? Number one, convenience. Everything that you are using right now, everything that you are eating right now, everything that you are wearing right now is a product of research. Lahat ng ginagamit ninyo, sinusuot ninyo, kinakain ninyo, lahat yan ay resulta ng research. Okay, so convenience. So kung yung proseso nung unang panahon ng pagpapadala ng sulat, ang tawag natin doon ay snail mail, ay inaabot ng linggo, 1 linggo, 2 linggo bago makarating doon sa pupuntahan. Ngayon, through technology, through research, ay meron na tayong bagong paraan o makabagong paraan, which is electronic mail, na hindi lang inaabot ng 1 minuto, segundo lang makakarating na doon sa taong pupuntahan nung email yung message na ipinadala ninyo. So again, those are results of research. Next, number 2, self-improvement. So in terms of self-improvement, hindi lang sa ibang tao, pagpapagaan ng buhay ng ibang tao, kundi sa sarili ninyo, nagkakaroon kayo ng bagong kaalaman. Ito yung number 4, it promotes new knowledge dahil meron kayong nalaman habang sinusulat nyo ang inyong research at nagkakaroon kayo ng realizations, ng reflections, lalong-lalo na kapag ang ginagawa ninyo ay yung tinatawag nating qualitative research. But in this particular discussion, magfo-focus tayo sa quantitative research. Okay, so that is self-improvement. Pangatlo, development. In terms of output product, sabi natin, kapag ang isang produkto ng isang kumpanya, whether industrial or tech company, ay hindi nag-develop, hindi nag-improve, hindi nagbago, mamamatay ito. Mamamatay yung kumpanya. And there are a lot of stories that proves and supports this particular knowledge. Kaya kailangan nagde-develop palagi, nag-i-improve yung produkto. May nadadagdag, hindi nababawasan. Hindi rin stagnant. Ano yung stagnant? Walang pinagbago. Meron mang pinagbago, konti lang yung nagbago. Okay, so development is important and development is one of the result of research. Nagre-research kayo para mapaganda kung ano yung iniimbestigahan ninyo. So that is number 3. Number 4, it promotes new knowledge. So sabi natin kanina, Together with self-improvement is the acquisition of new knowledge. Ito ang isa sa benefit ng paggawa ng research. Meron kayong nalalaman na bago. Doon naman sa self-improvement, yung mga benefits na ibinibigay ng paggawa nyo ng research ay napakaraming opportunities na magbubukas sa inyo. So, nandyan yung promotion, kasama yan doon sa self-improvement. Nandyan yung pwede kang mag-present sa ibang bansa through other conventions or research conventions. Again, that is part of self-improvement. And all of this, itong proseso na ito, is in line with promoting new knowledge. So, ito yung mga dahilan, kahalagahan ng pagkoconduct ng research. Okay, sunod. Characteristics of a good research. Now, you are familiar with the acronym SMART. Yung acronym na SMART. S-M-A-R-T. So, I have already written down the meaning of SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So, ang isang good research, or not just research, a good research title. Okay. So, but usually, a good research as a whole. Pero pwede niyong gamitin ito if you are referring to a title. Kasi maraming nagtatanong, sir, ano bang required kapag gumagawa ng research title? So, it is also applicable for a research title. So, number 1, when we talk about specific, it should be discrete, exact. So, these are done through the identification of the variables that you are going to use. Ibig sabihin, magiging specific, magiging exact yan kapag yung mismong mga variables, kung sino yung involved sa research mo, naka-reflect doon sa research title mo at doon sa mismong research. Kasi meron sa title pa lang, hindi naka-identify kung sino yung respondents. Exactly. Yung exact respondents nila, halimbawa, yung generic term lang ginamit nila is students. Kapag sinabi niyong students, lahat ng levels ng students, you will have to cover. So you have to specify, it has to be discrete, it has to be precise. Okay? So that is what we mean when we talk about specific. When we talk about measurable, again, kapag measurable ang research na ginagawa ninyo, ang gagamitin yung method is quantitative research. Okay, so it should be quantifiable. Okay, so examples of quantifiable, yung levels of competency ng mga teachers, yung level of preparedness ng isang eskwelahan, yung level of pwede yung effects can also be measurable, okay? And then yung mga experimental na research can also be considered as measurable or quantifiable. Again, we are going to specifically discuss the different areas under quantitative research. Ang tawag natin doon is yung research design. So when we talk about measurable, dapat yung pwedeng sukatin. Because when you go to qualitative research, these focuses mainly on experiences ng mga tao. Kaya hindi siya pwedeng sukatin. Okay, so that is what we mean by measurable or quantifiable. Now, the next one is attainable. So when we talk about attainable, it should be achievable. Yung hindi imposible. And it should be realistic, or it should be realistic. Okay, so when you try to think of a research title, make sure that you take into consideration the time that you have in order to achieve the research. So, another consideration para maging attainable siya is the accessibility of the data. Baka naman hindi pwedeng i-access yung data or napakaraming kailangan yung puntahan para makuha yung data. It is not attainable. It is not realistic. It is not achievable. Okay? So that is what we mean by attainable. Next, relevant. When we talk about relevant, it should be pertinent. Pertinent refers to being important, crucial, timely, napapanahon. Kung ano yung mga nangyayaring problema, issue sa ating society, sa ating mga kapwa, ito dapat ang magiging basihan ng pagbuo natin ng research title at pagbuo ng research. Okay, sunod, time-bound. So kapag pinag-usapan natin ng time-bound ay meron tayong nilalagay na target date or time frame. So again, as I mentioned earlier, under attainable, dapat i-take into consideration ninyo itong time frame na meron kayo. So kung itong research na ginagawa ninyo is good for 1 semester, is good for a number of months, kailangan yung research na ipropose ninyo hindi ganun kahirap, kakomplikado para hindi matapos within the time frame or target date na sinet ninyo. Again, these are the characteristics of a good research or a research title. The next one is objective of research. So as you can see, this is already synthesized into one statement. Kaya objective of research na yung ginamit natin. So ang research ninyo, kaya kayo gumagawa ng research is to be able to contribute to the existing body of knowledge. So ibig sabihin, kung ano yung existing na hindi nyo na dapat inuulit. So again, the objective of research is to be able to contribute to the existing body of knowledge. Do not repeat studies that have already been conducted. As much as possible, try to look for further studies that will continue the study that you are interested in. So, nandun yun sa part ng recommendation. Or try to find an issue and then after that, research if there are already studies that have been conducted relevant to the issue that you are interested in. So, pwede nyo namang hanapin yan sa internet kung meron ng mga titles na gumawa na kapareho o kahalintulad ng research na ginagawa ninyo. To continue, that would result to a more effective and efficient process that would make life convenient. So again, in this synthesis of idea regarding the objective of research, nandun pa rin yung convenience, yung pagpabagaan sa buhay, pagpapabilis ng proseso, pagiging mas efficient at mas effective ng proseso na ginagawa natin kumpara noon. Okay, so yun yung tinatawag nating dahilan kung bakit tayo nagko-conduct ng research. Now, the next part, the research methods. So, I am going to present both quantitative and qualitative. But most probably, if you are in the senior high school, if I'm not mistaken, quantitative research belongs to PR2 or practical research 2, while qualitative is under PR1 or practical research 1. So when we talk about research methods, you have the following. So research methods, you have quantitative research and then you have qualitative research. And then under these research methods are what we call research designs. Under quantitative research method, meron tayong iba't ibang designs na pwede nyong gamitin. Pero lahat sila classified as quantitative research. So let's start with descriptive research. So when we talk about descriptive research, this is more on the narrative part of research writing. So halimbawa, kung ang research ninyo ay challenges encountered by students. So yung challenges, narrative, ibig sabihin, pwedeng through narration, ikwento yung mga na-encounter na considered as challenges ng mga estudyante. And then, this should be measurable kasi quantitative siya. So, challenges, narrative, pero kailangang masukat. Halimbawa, ano-ano yung mga challenges na yon, ilan yung nagsabing ito yung mga challenges na na-encounter nila. So, nasusukat pa rin siya. And that will fall under descriptive. So again, when you use the term challenges encountered by students in blah blah blah, that is descriptive and under quantitative research. Okay? So the next one is correlation. When we talk about correlation, relationship, specifically, you are going to see the term significant relationship or SR. Significant relationship. Significant refers to there is a very high probability that there is an effect of one variable to another variable. So, yung relasyon nitong dalawang variables na ito. Example, relationship between example of variable 1 or independent variable and dependent variable. We are talking about correlation. So, independent variable is example webinars. And then dependent variable is the competency of teachers. Okay, so this is what we're going to use for our independent and dependent variable. So kapag correlation, meron bang relasyon? Pwede nyong itanong sa sarili ninyo. Meron bang relasyon yung pag-attend ng webinar sa competency ng teacher? So that is correlation. Probability. Pwede bang lumabas na walang webinar na inattenan yung teacher pero mataas yung kanilang competency? Is it also possible na madaming webinar, increase yung webinar, madami, pero yung competency level ng teachers mababa, which is also possible. And the other two possibilities, pwedeng mataas yung webinar, madaming webinar, mataas yung competency level. Okay? Or, the other one is, mababa yung webinar, ibig sabihin, walang webinar na inattenan, therefore, mababa yung competency ng teacher. Ang tawag natin dito is correlation of variables. Okay? The next one is causal comparative. So, ibig sabihin, dito, ang focus ng research ay yung influence of one variable to another variable. So let's write. So when you talk about influence, this is causal comparative. So example, influence of independent variable, let's use yung mga mobile games. So, ang research ninyo, halimbawa, influence of mobile games to the academic performance. Generic na lang gamitin natin. Academic performance of students. Okay. So, when we talk about causal comparative, meron bang naging influence yung mobile game sa academic performance? Or para ma-align natin halimbawa sa Hume's, sa behavior of senior high school students. Okay. Yan. So, ito bang mobile games dahil sa kaka-game nila? Or pwede mga movies. Pwede nyong gamitin dyan, yung mga Netflix movies. But you have to be specific. So, in this case, yung bang mobile game nagkaroon ng influence sa behavior ng mga estudyante. Okay? So, this is the difference between correlation and causal comparative. Okay, the next one is experimental research. And under experimental research, we have two types, quasi-experimental and true experimental. Usually, ang experimental research is used to test something. So, sa mga teachers, ginagamit nila yan kapag gusto nila mag-test ng teaching strategy. Okay. So, halimbawa, gamification is a teaching strategy. Gamification. gamification. Pagtuturo sa pamamagitan ng paglalaro. Okay? So, this can be used under experimental research. Diba? Gamification as a method in teaching mathematics. Kahit hindi nyo na ilagay yung salitang the effects of. Okay? Pwede nang diretso doon. Gamification as a method of teaching mathematics. Okay? So, quasi-experimental and true experimental, what is the difference? Kapag quasi-experimental, ang gagawin ng researcher, yung groups na gagamitin niya, yung tinatawag nating controlled and experimental group, is modified. Ibig sabihin, it is controlled and decided by the researcher. So, ibig sabihin na ano siya, na ayos siya. So, halimbawa, ang gusto ko lang gamitin sa quasi-experimental is yung mga students that are magbibigay ako ng qualifications, dapat ganitong average nila, dapat ganitong grade level nila. So, ibig sabihin, there are specific criterias na kailangan niya para doon sa group niya. So, merong criteria yon. So, that's quasi-experiment. Okay? Now, when we talk about true experimental, hindi nyo gagalawin yung class o yung group. Kung ano yung nature ng klase, kung ano yung mga class na gagamitin ninyo, you do not modify, you do not rearrange. Okay? So, kasi sa quasi-experimental, you have to make sure na comparable yung dalawang group bago nyo gawin yung research. Sa true experimental, hindi nyo pwedeng gawin yon. Kaya siya true experimental. You cannot change, modify the groupings. Okay, but the process is the same. Gamification pa rin ang gagamitin. Kaya lang, dun lang sila nagkaiba. Okay, so we are done with quantitative research and the designs under quantitative research. Now, qualitative research, again, the focus of our discussion will be more on quantitative, but we are going to go through the different designs under qualitative research. So when we talk about qualitative research, as mentioned earlier, this focuses more on the experiences of the respondents of the study, and therefore more on narrative, the data analysis, the data analysis. Walang statistical analysis ang qualitative. The data analysis for qualitative is coding and thematic. Okay? So, it is definitely different from quantitative research. So, ano-ano itong mga designs na ito? Number one, pag sinabi natin phenomenon, these are events that cannot be explained. Mga pangyayari na hindi maipaliwanag. So, sabi nga natin, this focuses more on experiences of the respondent. So, example nito ay kapag nakakita kayo ng term na lived experiences or live experience. Or, kahit na walang salitang lived, experiences. Yan. Alam ba, experiences of teachers in the midst of online teaching. Okay, so that is phenomenological. Yung pangyayari at ikinukwento nung respondent kung ano yung mga pinagdaanan niya doon sa phenomenon o event na yon, nung pangyayari. Yung pangyayari is yung online or during the pandemic, paano yung mga experiences na daanan niya compared doon sa, syempre, yung conventional way of teaching. Napakarami niyang pwedeng ikwento dyan. So, that is phenomenological. Okay, another, aside from yung social phenomenon ang tawag natin dito. So, aside from that, meron tayong mga natural phenomenons. So, kung medyo mas malaki yung scope na gusto nyong gawin under phenomenological, yung natural phenomenon that can be used for phenomenological study will be yung mga social issues pa rin natin sa environment, which is global warming at kung ano-ano pa. Okay? So, all of this will fall under phenomenological study. And then, number 2, under qualitative, historical. When we talk about historical, this is an investigation of new facts related to the past that will affect the future. Again, historical study is the investigation of new facts related to the past that will affect the present. So halimbawa, may mga lumabas na bagong ebidensya na may kinalaman sa nakaraan at ito ay makakaapekto sa ngayon, ito ay babagsak o makakategorize under historical study. Okay, next. Case study is usually focused on either product or individual's development. Product development or individual development. So, ang case study medyo matagal. Matagal talaga kasi hihintayin mo yung development nila. And focused lang talaga doon sa individual or sa product na iniimbestigahan ninyo. Okay, the next one is grounded theory. So, when we talk about grounded theory, this is the investigation of theories and then eventually come up with a new theory coming from the investigation. Ulitin natin, ang grounded theory ay ang pagsasaliksik ng mga theory at maglalabas kayo ng panibagong theory. So, halimbawa, imbestigahan ninyo yung the theory of dying. Diba? Tapos, aside from that, ano pa yung ibang theory na pwede nyong i-relate doon. And then, eventually, pagkatapos nyo maimbestigahan ito, you will come up with a new theory of your own. Okay. The next one is what we call ethnographic study. Ang ethnographic study ay may kinalaman sa pag-iimbestiga ng kultura at tradisyon ng mga tinatawag nating indigenous people, indigenous groups, minorities, at kung ano pa. Not literally, lahat lang ng mga that belongs to yung mga indigenous groups or mga tribes. Okay? So, sa society natin, meron din tayong ethnographic study. So, halimbawa, yung mga kabataan na nagfa-form ng mga groups, tapos doon sa group na yon nagkakaroon na sila ng sarili nilang not necessarily culture and tradition, pero yung paraan ng pagsasalita nila, yung paggalaw nila, pananamit nila, at yung mga kinagawian nila, pwede itong pumasok sa ethnographic. Pero most of the time under ethnography, pwedeng ang iniimbestigahan dito is more on indigenous peoples, cultures, and tradition. Papaano sila magpakasal, papaano yung panliligaw, paraan ng paglibing nila sa kanilang mga patay at kung ano-ano pa. So this falls under ethnographic study. Okay, now that we're done with the research method and designs, I am going to present, actually this is just an excerpt, okay? Action research versus IMRAD, because this is also often asked, madalas din itinatanong, ano po yung pagkakaiba ng action research sa IMRAD na research? So when we talk about action research, the same process with a full research. So ang proseso ng research ninyo is meron kayong chapters 1 to chapter 5, and then eventually sa chapter 5, ang action research meron tinatawag na output, concrete output, kapag action research ang pinag-uusapan. At itong mga output na to are in the form of, kailangan meron kayong gagawin na plan, program, innovation, intervention, at kung ano-ano pa. Okay, so that is what we call an action research. Again, the only difference between a full research and an action research is the action research has an output. Kapag IMRAD naman ang pinag-uusapan natin, ang IMRAD ay isang format. Okay, ang format na ito ay ginagamit sa pag-publish ng mga researches. Karaniwan itong mga research na ito ay merong mga sinusunod na bahagi. Ito yung IMRAD na tinatawag natin. Ito yung format na kailangan para may publish ito doon sa tinatawag nating scientific journal or research journals. Okay? Kasi hindi pwedeng tanggapin yung chapters 1 to chapter 5, yung buong manuscript. So, kailangan sundin ninyo yung format ng IMRAD. So, ang IMRAD, yung mga formats na kailangan ninyong i-present ay yung IMRAD. Actually, ano lang yan, IMRD. So, introduction, methods, results, and discussion. Okay, so that's the difference between action research, IMRAD, and a full research. Okay, next. The research format is not necessarily or does not necessarily require a comprehensive discussion. So, pag format, ipipresent lang natin para meron lang kayong idea pag nagsusulat na kayo kung ano yung iba't ibang part na kailangan yung i-accomplish o isulat habang gumagawa na kayo ng inyong study. So, a thesis dissertation is introduced by the preliminary materials which should be arranged in the following sequence with the pagination, lowercase, Roman numeral, centered at the bottom. So, again, this focuses mainly on mechanics and format ng research paper. Okay, so sinasabi niya lang dito, yung pagination niya, kailangan lowercase, Roman numeral kapag preliminary materials. Yun yung mga nakikita nyong letter I, tapos I, okay. This is for the preliminary materials. Okay, so under the preliminaries, you have the following, yung title page, approval sheet, acknowledgement, table of contents, list of figures, list of tables, and then the abstract. You can only present the abstract if you have finished your research up to the last part, which is the recommendation. Ulitin po natin, if you are only done with chapters 1 to 3, which is the research proposal, it is not possible for you to produce a research abstract. Kasi ang abstract is an outline of the findings of your study. At hindi mo maibibigay yung findings ng study mo sa abstract kung hindi mo tapos yung iyong research. The next are the following. So, present lang natin yung mga parts. So, make sure that you are familiar with the title of each chapters. Each chapter have their respective standard research title, chapter title. So, chapter 1 is the problem and its background, review of related literature studies, and studies or RRLS, and then research design and methodology, and then chapter 4 is paid, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. And then chapter 5 is the summary of findings, 3 parts, conclusions, and recommendations. So again, this is the research format that should be reflected in your research paper when you start writing your study. Okay, the next part, dito na tayo. This is very crucial. The formation of your research title. So, I created this template in order to facilitate a more efficient and yet simple way of formulating a research title. And again, there are instances wherein the researchers cannot readily identify nasan yung IV tsaka DV nila. So, I'm going to explain this and then eventually, hopefully, after this, you can already continue the list because this is a limited list. I just gave an example. Pwede nyong dagdagan yung listahan and then eventually magiging reference nyo na ito. Okay? So, the template is divided into different parts. So, number 1, you have the goal, you have the IV, the DV, competency, the local, and the output. This one, the output will only be used kapag gumagawa kayo ng action research. Again, you are only going to use the output if you are conducting an action research. If not, hanggang dito lang, pwede na yung sa research title ninyo. Again, this is a template in crafting a proposed research title. Now, when we talk about goal, the definition of goal is the direction of the investigation, the action. Okay, usually yan nandyan yung ano yung gusto nyong ma-attain ang gusto nyong malaman sa inyong research to identify the effect, the impact, the relationship, o magde-develop kayo ng isang planned program or i-enhance ninyo yung isang bagay. Pero more on development yan. Okay, so that is what we mean by goal, the direction of the investigation or the direction of your research. Next, when we talk about IV versus DV, ang independent variable are usually the issue being investigated. The issue being investigated, ito yung direction ng investigation. Ito yung issue na gusto nyong imbestigahan. Not necessarily, hindi natin ginamit yung salitang problem. Okay? Issue does not necessarily mean that it is a problem. So, example ng issue, blended learning, gamification, webinars, SLOC, scientific text, and so on and so forth. So, again, you can add examples under these columns para ma-extend yung inyong listahan, and then eventually, I'll tell you kung paano nyo gamitin mamaya. And then, when we talk about dependent variable, these are the ones affected by the issue. Ito yung issue na iniimbestigahan, ito yung apektado ng issue na iniimbestigahan ninyo. So usually this refers to the respondents. Okay? So example are selected high school students, selected specified na siya, in-service teachers. So instead of using students and teachers, you really have to specify sa title ninyo kung sino-sino sila. Kung kailangan sabihin senior high school, yung level kapag college, and so on and so forth. School heads are another example ng dependent variable, and grade blank students, identifying the level of the students. So this is what we mean by dependent variable. Next, the competency that you are investigating doon sa issue. Yung area that you are investigating doon sa dependent variable. Halimbawa, sa mga estudyante, anong area sa buhay ng mga estudyante ang iniimbestigahan ninyo? Academic performance. Di ba? Anong area sa mga teachers? Yung kanilang competency. Anong area sa mga school heads or principals? Pwede natin lagay dyan. Yung leadership style. So again, this one is related to this one, and this one is related to this one, and this one is again relevant to this one. All of them are connected with one another. So again, competency is the area being investigated dito sa mga issue that are affected by the issue or the respondents. Okay, now the last one, which is local, is the setting of the investigation. So usually this refers to the school, district, o mas malaki, region, division, and so on and so forth. So you can reflect that in your research title. Again, if you're conducting an action research, the output is defined as the following. It is a crafted concrete output based on the result of the investigation. So as mentioned earlier, meron kang concrete na ipe-present o gagawin sa iyong manuscript kapag action research ang ginagawa mo. So, examples of these are plans, framework, intervention, innovation, program. Okay. So, how do you use the template? After having given examples dito, yung mga naka-indicate ng kulay blue, all you need to do now is to put them together. Example, I want to find the effect of gamification to selected high school students, academic performance, then pangalan ng school. So, paano lalabas sa title ninyo? How are you going to put this together? So, what you're going to do is to recite lang muna natin the effects of gamification to the academic performance of selected senior high school students of name of school. Okay, nakita nyo? So, ang nangyayari lang sa kanya, ito yung nagiging number 1, nagiging number 2, nagiging number 3, 4, and number 5. Okay. Again, ito, relationship of webinars to the teacher's competency. Ayan, actually, pwede na yan. Relationship of webinars to teachers' competency. So, hindi na natin kailangan yung dependent variable kasi nandito na yung teachers. Identified na siya. Tapos, halimbawa dito sa district. Okay? So, ang lalabas sa title natin is the relationship of webinars to teachers' competency in the district of blank. Okay? So, that is how you use this template. Okay, next. As promised earlier, I will be giving sample Humes relevant title, especially for the students who are listening and watching this video. So, ito pwede nyong gamitin. So, number 1 is correlation. Kasi ang hinahanap natin dyan is relationship. The relationship of computer games to the social interaction skills of students. What is the problem? Sabi natin kanina, research title characteristics. Letter S should be specific. The problem is, students lang yung nakalagay dyan. So, napakaraming students. So, you have to specify kung sino yung students. So, again, paano natin specify? Ilagay nyo yung level. Or, kung gusto nyo, selected. Pero, lagyan nyo pa rin ng level. So, pwedeng relationship of computer games to the social interaction skills of selected senior high school students of wala pa yung lokal niya. Okay. So, yaan yung kailangan nyong gawin in order to complete yung title ninyo doon sa first example. Okay. Number 2. Challenges encountered by Humes students in practical research 2. So, what problem can you see in this particular title? Challenges encountered by Humes students. If you are okay in getting all Humes students, okay lang yan. Pero, lagyan nyo ng lokal. Okay? So, pwede yan. So, ang dadagdag nyo na lang dyan yung school. Challenges encountered by all Humes students in practical research 2 of the pangalan ng school. Yung next is yung pangalan ng school. Okay, next. Number 3. If not, at masyadong marami yung yung students, lagay nyo, encountered by, lagay nyo dito, selected Humes students. O, di ba? Next. Number 3, lived experiences. So, yung number 1 is correlation. Yung number 2 is descriptive research. Yung number 3, lived experiences is phenomenological. Lived experiences nino ng senior high school students during the F2F modality. Ano na namang kulang? Yung local. Okay? So, lagyan nyo lang ng local yan. So, again, kung yung senior high school students masyadong madami, lagyan nyo dyan, selected. Okay? Lived experiences of selected senior high school students during F2F modality in pangalan ng school. Example number 4. Impact of blended learning. So, impact is causal comparative. The influence ng blended learning modality doon sa academic performance ng students. So, mas appropriate dito is what? Is it really impact or is it effect? So, effect siya. Effect of blended learning modality to the academic performance of Humes students, and then lagyan nyo ulit ng local. And then, kapag masyadong madami pa rin yung Humes students, lagyan nyo dyan selected. Okay, we have already hit two birds with one stone. Research title critiquing para maging specific siya at para ma-identify nyo yung mga elements na kulang, and then at the same time forming research titles. So I hope you were able to get takeaways from this discussion, and I would like to thank you very much for inviting me in this particular celebration of yours, and I would like to congratulate the organizers of this particular activity. So thank you very much. Keep learning, everyone, and please again let me promote for the last time my YouTube channel at Tokhead Padama. Other parts of your research paper can be found in my YouTube channel, And please subscribe and click that notification bell to alert you when a new video has been uploaded. Share this to your friends, to your classmates, to your group mates so that you can also inform them of how simple it is. Merong mas madaling paraan ng pag-aaral ng research. Thank you very much everyone. Stay safe and God bless. Goodbye!